So should you start a podcast, a YouTube channel, or a blog? Which one? Let's talk about it. Hey guys, it's your girl Brianna Queen. In today's video, you already know, we are talking about the pros, the cons, which one should you create when it comes to creating a podcast, YouTube channel, or blog. You know podcasting is hot. You know YouTube's great. You like blogging, but maybe you're wondering which medium should you actually choose as a content creator. So today I'm talking about all the pros, the cons, and things to consider, as well as what I recommend when you decide if you want to start a podcast, a YouTube channel, or a blog. So as someone who has all three, I literally have a blog, I have a podcast, and a YouTube channel. A lot goes into creating all of that content, and each medium has their pros, they have their cons. But I want to start off by saying that when you're trying to decide which one to do, first think about which one will best fit you. If you love to write, obviously blogging may be a better option for you. If you enjoy, talking and you are really funny or you have a great voice, then podcasting or video may be a better fit for you. It really depends on what your best qualities are. Now, obviously with video does take a little more work. You have to actually show up, look presentable, whereas on podcasts, you can look crazy, your house can look crazy, you just have to have great audio. And with the blogging, you don't gotta look any kind of way. You could literally just be blogging on the side of the road. So, there are some benefits and some cons to all three. So first, let's start off with blogging. Now, if anyone tells you that blogging is dead, they are lying. Blogging is still profitable, okay? As someone who has a profitable blog, and yes, I make money with my blog with affiliate income as well as with ad revenue. As someone who makes money blogging, let me tell you, blogging is still profitable. Now, granted, when you are blogging, it's a strategy, right? And blogging is not instant. When it comes to blogging, especially if you're blogging and you're trying to make money through ad revenue, you will take some time. You will have to build up to it. Blogging is not a get-rich-quick scheme at all. Unlike with podcasts or a YouTube channel where you do have to buy equipment like a microphone or a camera, with a blog, you don't have to buy anything besides, your website and your web hosting, your domain. That's really all when it comes down to it. So with the blog, it is cheaper to start a blog as opposed to a podcast or a YouTube channel unless you're recording with your phone. Now, the one thing with blogging is there are a lot of blogs in the world. Blogging is one of the oldest online mediums, so you do have quite the competition when it comes to blogging. Additionally, you do have to have a blogging strategy. As someone who has been blogging and who makes money blogging, you cannot just do Dear Diary blog posts, like blog posts where you're like, my day was like this and then my day went like that. Nobody cares about that. Like, you do have to blog with a purpose if you're trying to make money with blogging. So I do say, if you're thinking about blogging, just know that yes, blogging is still profitable, but it can take a while to start picking up. I did not start making money with my blog for, I want to say, at least 8 months. It took me 8 months to finally nail down, enough around SEO, which is search engine optimization, because you really have to know about that as well. Pinterest, all those things to really get my blog running and becoming profitable. So if you're thinking about blogging and making money that way, it's a great thing to do if you're great at writing, if you don't want to be on camera, if you don't want to, talk or be heard. Also, blogging is great for faceless brands. So if you don't want to be the face of your brand, because blogging is so content driven, you don't have to. You don't have to share like who you are as a person, what you look like, what you sound like, none of those things when it comes to blogging. So blogging is a great medium for those who, may not want to commit to being on camera, who may not want to commit to being heard, who don't want to be the face of their brand, who don't want to spend a lot of money or, don't want that learning curve of having to learn equipment like, microphone and a camera. As well as blogging is great because it's very search engine heavy. So people can reference your blog that you created 5 years from now. You can still make income from that. So blogging is a great evergreen strategy to make money online. The pros of blogging is, one, a low cost investment, especially when you're comparing it to starting a YouTube channel or podcasting. Two, you can update blog posts. With YouTube videos, you can't really update them. Like, once you publish a YouTube video, you can't go back and edit the video if it's ranking. Whereas with a blog post, you can always go back, you can edit it, you can make it new again. If you wrote a blog post and it's really popular, you can go back and edit and make it even better. You can edit content to make it evergreen. Number 3, blogging can help establish you as the expert in your field. So if you're a beauty blogger, you will absolutely be looked at as a beauty expert. You know, if you're a DIY blogger, you'll be looked at as a DIY expert. So a blog really does help to establish you as an expert. Even as a business owner, if you have a blog as a business owner, it will establish you as the expert. People will go to your website, they'll check out your blog, they'll see like, you know, what your expertise and your knowledge is. So it's a really great way to really, you know, generate new leads, as well as to get leads, to get to know you and then build that know, like, and trust with you. The pro is that blogging is still profitable. Like I said, I make money every single month on my blog. Blogging is profitable, but you have to have a monetization strategy with making money with your blog. And honestly, I do find that with blogging, although there are different ways to make money with your blog, blogging can be kind of hard to monetize if you are a new blogger or you have a brand new website that maybe will not rank on Google as quickly. Which leads to some of the cons of blogging. Blogging is time consuming. You have to do keyword research when you're blogging. You have to write, edit, optimize. Like, blogging is not something that you can do really quickly, especially if you're new. Like, blogging as a new blogger, it will take time to kind of build up how you want your blogs. But especially now, a lot of times with blogging, you know, blog posts should be at least 1,000 words if you wanted to rank on Google. So it can be a little time consuming. That's one of the cons to blogging. Another con of blogging is it's not as personal as YouTube or podcasting. Like, when you're watching a video, you get to learn like that person's like mannerisms, their quirkiness. Like, you kind of feel like you're right in front of the person. Whereas with the blogging, you don't necessarily get that. It doesn't have that personal touch like video has or like podcasting has. So that's another one of the cons of blogging, is that it doesn't have that personal touch, and your guests or your readers, your audience, will not get to know you as quickly and as easy as they would if you was on video or doing a podcast. And then another kind of blogging is that it could be difficult, especially if writing doesn't come naturally to you, or, you know, blogging for content driven style is not easy to you as well. So blogging can be hard if writing is not as easy to you. And then additionally, blogging can take a little longer to build up an audience and make money with, because you're really relying on, you know, Pinterest for the most part, or Google, or some type of way to drive traffic to your blog. Now let's talk about video. So every social media has video, right? YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter has Periscope. Like, pretty much every social media platform has some type of video medium. But for today, I'm going to be talking about starting a YouTube channel as opposed to an IGTV channel or something, okay? So let's talk about the pros and the cons of video. So the one thing I love about video is video allows your audience to see as well as hear you. And that's really great, right? Because it's honestly one of the best and quickest ways to really start gaining a relationship with your audience. Your audience gets to feel like they know you, like you're sitting right across from them and they're getting to know you. So that's the really great thing about video, is video really builds that know, like, and trust factor faster than podcasting and way faster than blogging. However, with that, you know, being on video, it may not come natural, right? Like, some people may feel kind of shy on video. They may not feel like they are portraying themselves correctly on video. Video does come with a learning curve. Even YouTube, the platform, like blogging to me is very, you know, it's very simple. You're just writing your blog post, you spell check it, optimize it, you're done. Whereas with video, especially with YouTube, YouTube is a learning curve. Learning how to upload a video, learning how to optimize a video, learning how to do, you know, end screens or playlists or add captions to a video. Like, YouTube does have a learning curve. So that's another like con to YouTube, is that it does kind of take a learning curve. But on the plus side of that, you know, YouTube does pay for ad revenue once you hit a certain amount of subscribers as well as watch time, which you don't necessarily get with podcasting or blogging. You have to find your own revenue streams. Whereas with YouTube, once you hit that criteria to get paid with ad revenue, it is a new, or I could say it is an additional stream of income that you have with video that you don't really have with podcasting or with a blog. So let's talk about some more pros and cons of having a YouTube channel. Video was just super fast, right? Like, would you rather read a 30-page manual on how to build a table, or would you rather watch a 3-minute video? Most of you guys are going to say you'd rather watch a 3-minute video, right? Because the truth is more people prefer video over blogging. Video is people's most preferred format because video allows you to see something as well as watch it, which makes it easier to learn as opposed to, maybe blogging or just hearing about it. It's very visual. Another pro of video, specifically YouTube, is that it really helps you to develop that deep connection with your audience. Somebody can watch one YouTube video of yours and be like, oh my God, I love this person. I want to watch more of her videos. Whereas with the blog posts, somebody may read a blog post and they're like, okay, and they move on to the next, right? With video, you are able to build a deep connection with your audience quicker and easier as opposed to the other formats. However, that is a double-edged sword because some people will watch your video and they will instantly love you, whereas some will watch your video and they will be like, ew, I don't like her, she's awful. So just know that as well. Know that yes, video helps you to build a connection better with your audience, but on the flip side, you will have people who don't necessarily enjoy your videos. But that can kind of be said about blogging and podcasts as well, right? People are gonna like you, some are not gonna like you. It doesn't matter what you do or what type of format you do it with. You will have some I love hers and some I hate hers. That's just kind of the price you pay for being a content creator online. But with video, I feel like you will get that more often. People sharing that they don't like you or, they're not necessarily enjoying the video. You will get more trolls, I feel like, with video as opposed to blogging and podcasting. Another pro of YouTube is that it helped establish you as the expert. I always recommend for people who have a business or they are thinking about starting a business, I always say try video because video can really establish you as the expert in people's eyes. For example, if you are a makeup artist and you do, beauty videos, people will establish you as the beauty expert. If you are a finance coach and you're doing finance videos, it's going to really establish you as the expert because you are creating videos, you're creating content where you're sharing your expertise, you're sharing your tips, you're sharing your knowledge. People will start to see you as the expert in that field. So the great thing about video is that it really does establish you as the expert, and it really just kind of give you that, it kind of gives you kind of a receipt, right? People watch your videos and like, oh, she really knows her stuff. So it's a great way to really establish yourself online. It takes a lot more work to be on video than it does to write a blog post or be on a podcast. Your background has to be nice. You have to have a great quality camera or a great quality video, I should say. You have to look presentable. You have to sound presentable. It does have a lot more work to it. You can't just click on a button and then record. So one of the biggest cons I feel like to video is that it just takes more work to record a video as opposed to recording a podcast episode or writing a blog post. Another con of video is that it can be kind of expensive, right? Buying a camera or having a really nice phone where you can record on, a microphone, video editing. Being on video can be expensive, especially when you are trying to really elevate your videos and have really great quality videos. I find that videos probably the most expensive medium to choose as opposed to podcasts where all you need is a microphone and a kind of an audio editor, and then a blog post where you just need spell check. So video can be expensive, especially if you want the elevated videos and you're trying to record on a really nice high quality camera or a really great microphone or have super special effects for editing. Which leads me into another con of video, which is there's a learning curve. You do have to, for the most part, edit your videos if you're not going to be doing any type of live streaming. Whereas with live stream, you actually just, record in real time. With YouTube, for the most part, if you're doing YouTube videos, people tend to publish edited videos. So editing can be a learning curve. It absolutely is time consuming. But the pro of it is that it's a quicker way to grow your audience. It's a quicker way to establish yourself and to, really make yourself be the expert in the industry. So it has the cons, but it also has a great deal of pros. And then another con of YouTube is that you have to meet a certain threshold, right? If you're trying to make money with ad revenue, you do have to have a certain amount of followers or subscribers, have to have a certain amount of watch time. It does have a learning curve to it. I know now Facebook as well as Instagram also pays their creators. So you can create videos on Facebook or Instagram and make money those ways as well. But they also have caveats. You also have to have 10,000 followers or 10,000 likes as well as a certain amount of watch time as well. So pretty much every single platform these days, if you want to make money with ad revenue, you do have to like hit certain qualifications to be approved for that. Then another kind of video is that once you publish a video, you're done. You can't go back and change it. With the blog post, you can go back, you can edit it. With the podcast, you can like re-upload a newer version of it. But with the video, you cannot go back and edit a YouTube video. So if a YouTube video is ranking, that is it, that is done. You can, you know, record a new video, but you can't actually edit a video like you can't edit a blog post, or you know, even re-upload a podcast episode. So that's another kind of video, is that video is not as evergreen as blogging. And then last but not least, let's talk about podcasts, because podcasts are hot, right? Like everybody has a podcast these days. Podcasting has really picked up in the last, you know, 2-3 years. And I know a lot of people say, well, should I start a YouTube channel or a podcast? Because podcasting is great. I have a podcast and it actually gets quite a few listens. So let's talk about that, okay? Podcasting is kind of like the in-between of the blogging and the YouTube. It's not as time consuming as video, but it's also a little better, you know, to build that deep connection with your audience as opposed to blogging. The great thing about podcasting is podcasting can be as cheap as you want it to be. You can literally record your podcast episodes on your phone, which you can also do with video, but you can record your podcast episodes on your phone and it could take you, you know, 10 minutes to record an episode. Whereas with video, it may take you a little longer because you have to be seen as well as heard. So the great thing about podcasting is you get to build a deep connection with your audience a little faster than blogging, but it's not as time consuming as video. Another pro of podcasting is people are more likely to listen to your podcast the whole way through as opposed to watching a video the entire way. A lot of times people will watch a video and they'll click out of it after a certain amount of time. With podcasts, they're more likely to listen to the entire episode all the way through. So you do kind of have like a longer audience retention with podcasting. And then another pro of podcasting is that it is more like user friendly. It's not as difficult. There's not really a learning curve to podcasting like there is with YouTube. And then also with the podcast, really you just have to record, edit, and publish. And you can publish on a free platform. You can publish your podcast on a paid one or on your own like website. So there isn't as big of a learning curve to start a podcast as there is with YouTube. And then another great thing about podcasting is it can be listened to pretty much anywhere, as you're driving, as you're washing dishes, as you're walking, exercising. You know, with the blog, you have to actually read it, like take the time to stop and read it. With the video, you have to actually watch it. But with a podcast, you can be doing other things while listening to the podcast episode. So it's another benefit of podcasting is that it's accessible, you know, beyond just having to watch it or beyond just having to read it. That's like one of the biggest, I feel like one of the biggest pros of podcasting is that people can listen to it as they drive, as they cut their grass, as they cook, as they wash dishes, as they clean. Or maybe that's just me. I like to like listen to podcasts as I like do house chores around the house. Another pro of podcasting is you get to develop that deep connection. Now, you may not get to develop a deep of connection as you would if you're like doing it via video, but you know, you still get to really start to build a deep connection with your audience. Your audience gets to know that know, like, and trust factor with you. What's another great benefit of podcasts is that, you know, you really do get to build a relationship with your audience. And then another pro of podcasting is it is profitable. Now, it may not be as profitable as YouTube. We can get paid YouTube AdSense. And you may not be able to do, you know, blogging where you get paid blogging AdSense. But you can actually get paid through digital products. You can get paid with affiliate marketing with podcasting as well. And you can even have people sponsor, so have like ads in between the podcast, right before, right after it as well. So podcasting is profitable as well. Honestly, all three mediums are extremely profitable. Like all three can make you great money. You just have to be really strategic with it. But podcasting is just the same. You can make great money with podcasting like you could with the video, like you can with blogging. Now, some of the cons of podcasting, one of the biggest cons I find is that you have to market your podcast. With YouTube videos, they can rank on YouTube, they can rank on Google. With, you know, blogs, they can rank on Google, they can rank on Pinterest. But with podcasts, they don't really rank anywhere besides like, you know, podcast top 100. Like people can't, it's not really search friendly unless you use it inside of a blog post. So it's probably like the biggest con to podcasts is you have to have a way to market it. How will you get people to listen to your podcast? How will you get like, you know, new listeners to your podcast? How will you develop that audience? So one of the cons to podcasting to me is you do have to have a way to market your podcast, whereas with Google, you know, for blogging and YouTube, it's a lot easier to really start getting an audience. And just like with the video, you know, podcasting does require a microphone. Like you do have to have some equipment, so it may not necessarily be super cheap to start a podcast because you do have to have, you know, the recording microphone as well as maybe the editing software to edit your podcast. And then editing can be a hassle with podcasting. Just like you have to edit a YouTube video, you may have to edit your podcast, especially if you do a lot like ums and oohs and ahs and you have like a dog, you know, a dog barking in the background. So that's another thing with podcasting is that editing can kind of be a hassle, especially if you're brand new to having to edit a podcast episode. So when it comes to which one should you do a podcast, a blog, or a YouTube channel, it really just depends on you. What are you best at? Are you best at writing? Are you best at talking? Are you really great like visually? Think about which one interests you the most. If being on video, like thinking about being on video gives you hives, then maybe start a podcast. If you know you always wanted to be on video and you always wanted to, you know, start a really great YouTube channel, then do video. If you love to write, you always want to be like, I don't know, a novelist or something of that sort, then be blogging's for you. So just think about which one interests you as well. You know, you may be nervous thinking about being on video, but if being on video is what interests you and you know that being on video will get you where you want to be, will allow you to hit that revenue goal that you want or allow you to get more of an audience for your business, then really think about being on video. But also think about what interests you and whatever your goals are for your future, which one of those mediums will make more sense? Which medium will work best for the content you're creating? And then last but not least, you actually don't have to choose. I have a blog, a YouTube channel, as well as a podcast. And the way I do it is I just repurpose my content. So the way I repurpose my content and make my video, blog, and podcast all the same is I take my video, I record my video, right? And then I have it transcribed. I have it transcribed and that is turned into a blog post. Then I take my video and I separate the video from the audio and I turn the audio into a podcast. So if you actually click on my blog post for this, you'll see I have my video, have the written word, the blog post, as well as the podcast version. So you can actually do all three. You don't have to choose. You can repurpose your content and you can make each video a podcast as well as a blog post. You can do all three. However, there is a caveat to that. You will have to be very strategic with your time. For me, I have a video editor who edits my video. I also have a VA who's able to get my videos transcribed for me. So I do have a team that allows me to create multiple types of mediums for my content. So if you're just starting off and you're by yourself, I personally recommend starting off with one. So maybe having a YouTube channel, maybe having the blog, maybe having the podcast. And then as your audience grows and you're able to hire somebody, you can, you know, move on to having two types of mediums like the podcast and the YouTube channel together. If someone came to me and it was like, which one should I start? A YouTube channel, podcast, or blog? I'd recommend video. Not shocking, right? I think video honestly is the best medium. If you had to choose, if you're like, I want to do all three, I think video is best. And the reason being is because video, again, you can really grow your audience super fast. Like you really get to build a relationship with your audience. You're established as the expert. You don't really have to market as much because YouTube will do that for you, as well as Google. And then again, with video, you can turn it into a podcast episode. You know, you can have it transcribed and made into a blog post. You can't turn a blog post into a podcast episode. You can't turn a blog post into a YouTube video. Like you have to actually like create the content. Whereas with a YouTube video, it doesn't take any more effort to turn a YouTube video into a podcast beyond just scraping out the video aspect and making the audio version the podcast. Video really capitalizes off the visual and the audio. Podcast is just audio, blogging is just visual, but YouTube videos are visual and audio. So you get the best of both worlds. So that's why if I had to choose between the three, I would say YouTube videos or just videos in general are best. And then after YouTube videos, then I say blogging and podcast, whichever one. Like, I feel like both of them are great. Maybe like video, then podcasting, then blog. But again, all three are super profitable. All three you can be extremely successful with if you have a strategy and you're consistent and you really take the time to create great content. If you enjoyed this video or you're listening to it via the podcast version, be sure to give me 5 stars on iTunes or thumbs up on YouTube, or like it on Instagram if you're watching it via IGTV. I told y'all I repurposed my content. I was not playing about that. If you're interested in starting a profitable YouTube channel, I do have a free YouTube bundle. You can download that at briannaqueen.com/free-guide. And it includes a YouTube guide. It includes my Profitable Passion bundle. It includes a branding guide, a content creation calendar. You get a ton of stuff inside of my YouTube bundle, aka my resource library. So I'll talk to you guys in my very next video, our podcast episode. Stay healthy, stay happy, stay beautiful, and stay blessed. Bye guys.